Hello, it's Greg Grizzly and Guide. We're back. We hope you're having a happy day wherever you're listening to this audio content from. As always, thank you for your continued support of Greg Grizzly and Guide social media and writing efforts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome back. Long time no talk, no see, and or whatnot, except for you great folks who follow us over on Craig Hoffman 11 on Twitter. Appreciative of that, a growing community of people who really are interested in helping others in the writing community, talking about Japan, Japanese food, social media, chess, sports, and life in general. Today, I'd like to talk about a sensitive topic: why your struggle as a writer. And it doesn't mean, again, as I often say in these things, I have every answer for you. But if you've been listening this far, if you are listening this far, you clearly have some curiosity about the topic. And maybe you're just curious about what I might say because it's been a while, and I appreciate that. But here goes. Your writing's not good for a variety of reasons. Number one, you're not that special, and you're not that talented. And I know that hurts. But you're not. 7 billion people on the planet. Millions of speakers of any number of languages. You're not that good. You don't write nearly enough, and you don't practice nearly enough. A lot of people think that they can just write on the weekends, an hour or two, think they can write once in a while, think they can do it tomorrow. I've heard all that. I see all that. They have time for social media. They have time to watch movies. But they never quite find time to sit down and truly write. It's one of the biggest pet peeves I have with the writing community. They talk about a lot about writing, but they never quite get around to writing. Not a big fan of that. Although now you'd say, well, hey, look, idiot, you're here talking about writing while not writing. But I've already written today, for the record, as I have every day, at least for the last 17 years, without fail. Not one day off. Zero. So there's that. And really more than that. So you're not talented enough, you're not writing nearly enough, you're not reading nearly enough. I ask people all the time, how many books do you read? Sometimes. One a month, a couple a year, not nearly enough. Because again, number one, you're not talented enough. 2, you're not writing enough. And now 3, you're not reading enough. Now, as people post on Twitter all the time, do you have to be a reader to be a really good writer? No. But if you're struggling in the first step of being a writer, again, number one, you're not talented enough. 2, you're not writing enough. And 3, you're not reading enough. People ask me all the time, what's hard about writing? There ain't nothing hard about writing. Writing is the easiest thing I do all day. Super easy. It is. People say, oh, whatever. I went through those struggles long ago when I was a student in elementary school, junior high school, and college. Struggling with, quote unquote, how hard writing is. How hard English vocabulary, grammar, nuance, storytelling is. It's not. I'm 46 years old. I've written 4 million plus words here in Japan. Thousands of blog posts, multiple books, hundreds, if not thousands of essays. I've edited hundreds of books, beta read hundreds, if not thousands of books, talked countlessly to other writers about the craft, read literally thousands of articles on every facet of writing that you could possibly imagine, watched videos, listened to podcasts like this. You got to put in the work because, again, not talented enough, not writing enough, not reading enough, and number 4, not getting the results that I want or that you want in your writing. And you gotta have, number 5, realistic dreams. These people, I literally have had people write me, first book they've ever written, how long before I can stop working my regular day job and become a full-time writer? I'm not kidding. And I used to think it was some joke that people would put forth, and maybe that was just some weirded out person who writes, and they exist. But it wasn't. They were legitimately dreaming in their mind of becoming a full-time writer. And they said, well, I'm not good with people. I'm not good with Twitter. I'm not good with social media. I'm not good at maintaining a schedule and consistency. That's why I don't blog. That's why I don't do short stories. That's why I don't do essays. They published absolutely nothing in their life. And I went through their draft, and I'm using a composite here of several people in this same boat. I'm never personally picking out anybody that I've ever read for. So if you think it's you, it's not you. I can tell you that for absolute certainty. But they've literally written a book, 100,000 words plus, that's terrible. Terrible is being kind. No pacing, no character development, characters changing, characters leaving the room, poor editing that would barely pass for English even at a high school class. And they literally are telling me how long before you think I can get a book deal and become a full-time writer. And again, even if you wrote the great book, it's not going to be Harry Potter. It's going to be a book that makes a little money and never sells enough to outstrip the royalties. So even if you make some money, you'll make your money, but you'll be a gazillion years old before you ever make enough to outstrip the royalties that the publisher is going to take from you. You say, well, I'll just self-publish. The average self-published book, less than 250 copies its entire lifetime. You're not retiring on that unless you can get like 25, 30 grand a copy. And if you can do that, please make a podcast because I want to hear all about that. And it is harsh to put this out there. So you're not talented enough, you're not writing enough, you're not reading enough, and you're not knowledgeable enough about the craft. You say, well, what's the hardest thing about writing a book? And people say, oh, marketing. But then you say, well, what do you do to learn about marketing? Nothing. I really don't have any idea about marketing. You're a self-publishing person who has no base for marketing. It's why they make the internet, and there's Google and Yahoo and all of those other platforms, and a world full of Twitter to ask questions. People send me stuff. Is this good? And that's the 6th part probably, or 7th, whatever number I happen to be on now. Self-confidence. These people come to me and say, Craig, do you think it's good? My name is Craig, by the way. And some people are very respectful. Greg Grizzled and Gaijin. Is it good? And I say no. Well, how do you know? I didn't even read it. I said, no, it's not good. If you have to ask, is your writing good? It's not good. I never ask that. Say, hey, Craig, do you use beta readers? No. I post to my Facebook sometimes, like live stuff I'm working on. My friends read it, and some of them pretty blunt. Nothing changes, because I believe in what I write. And after I've gone through everything myself and written it myself, then I send it to a good buddy, Bill Adler, if he's Outwitting Squirrels, New York Times best-selling author, lives in Japan, good pal. And I have one other professional editing person, my friend, who throws me a bone and looks at my stuff. That's it. And most of them they find typing mistakes because I took trigonometry instead of typing in high school. And it's really small stuff. And they quibble about 1 or 2 points. It's not big. Rarely, if ever, by the time I've said that. And that's the next one. You're just lazy. People send me these drafts to beta read or alpha read. Really what they mix up. Alpha read is just like, I typed and here it is, please, what do you think? Which is dumb. Hate that. But I do it. And beta reading, which is supposed to be like the final step before publication, right? What do you think? Is it good? Do you see anything I've missed? And then you publish. But they're light years away from even being like comprehensible in English. You say, well, why is my editing better than your editing if we're both native speakers? And of course, you throw some tendency to the non-native speaker who writes in a second language, but there's no sugarcoating that people don't care that you're not if I write a novel in Japanese and my Japanese is terrible, when I write in Japanese for something for my company or to my wife or something important, I have native speakers check it because I know, again, I'm not talented enough, I don't write enough, and I don't read enough in Japanese to be good. I know my limitations, but I'm not lazy. I go to Grammarly when I'm doing my own stuff. I go to the Hemingway app when I go to my own stuff. I pop my prose line by line, section by section into Google Translate and listen to it while reading along to check for misspelled words, missed mechanics, and other small errors. And yes, that takes time, and it's tedious, and it's boring. But it's the difference between being a good book and a great book, or even being a terrible book to an okay book to an okay book. You don't have to be Harry Potter level to be a successful writer. It's the biggest thing. You don't have to be most of the stuff I write is like a 4th or 5th grade level. And there's also another key. Keep it simple. I get people who send me these things with like 60-word sentences, one right after another. First of all, they're wrong because they're run on, or they're comma spliced, or they're incorrect, or they meander. You'd be hard-pressed to find any writer who could write a coherent 60-word sentence again and again and again. It ain't gonna happen. That's just lazy. And it's condescending. Other people tend to throw in these big words. They sit around with Merriam-Webster right next to them where a simple word would do. And they say, well, hey, look, I passed my SATs. First of all, nobody's reading your book with a thesaurus or a dictionary sitting next to them. They just give up and quit. And dialogues where everybody talks the same. I read a book the other day. The serial killer in the book talked exactly like the 7-year-old boy that was with him, talked just like the women, talked just like the cops. There was no difference at all. That's just lazy. You haven't taken any time to study how dialogue works and really listen to people. Lazy. Successful, good, solid writing has very little to do with talent, as much as I opened with. Very little. You know what? You know who's talented? Everyone who writes. That's why they write successfully. You know who writes a lot? Everyone who writes successfully because they're talented and they write. You know who's talented and writes? The people who read a lot and understand that they don't know, so they learn. And you know who writes a lot? The people who are talented, who write a lot, who read a lot, who understand they're not that special. And they're not lazy. You're never going to beat me in effort. It's never going to happen. That's not ego, that's reality. I could get 1,000 people to say, Craig is amazing at effort. Professors have given speeches about me and my effort back in my college days. My college made rules so that kids would not have mental breakdowns trying to compete with the length of essays that I put together in my music classes. You're not going to beat me in effort. And there's a zillion people just like me with a lot of talent, a lot of drive, people who write every day, people who are working hard every single day to reach their dream of being, quote unquote, a successful writer and doing something extraordinary in the craft. I clean at my company with reckless abandon. You've never seen anyone handle a vacuum like me. I do it with pride. I brush my teeth like that. My dentist had to tell me to stop because I'm doing damage to my gums. I'm trying to be such a perfectionist. Every facet of my life I go like that. And there are A+ personality people like me. That's why they're successful. People say, how do you get people to follow you on Twitter? You tweet 100,000 times and you connect with every single person who ever reaches back to you. That's how you get people to follow you on Twitter when you're a normal person. I'm a regular dude. That's how you become successful. The grind. But I never see it as a grind. It's one step closer to my dreams. And you can do it too. And I often tell people when they look for their problems in their lives or writing or students at school, buy a mirror. The problem is you. But the solution is also you. And that can be really eye-opening for many people. Don't be the obstacle to your success. So many people get in the way of themselves if they stopped and understand their talent. If they write, if they read, and if they understand that someone out there knows more, is working hard, and doing more, learn to emulate the successful people and you'll be just fine. That's it. and have a great, great day.